I'm Tommy Gibbs, and thanks for taking time to watch this video. I have to assume that you're watching it for one of two reasons. Hopefully, you're already a client and you're looking at this to pick up on some things that we've done that enhance the system that will help you immensely. And number two, maybe you're a prospective customer, and we'd like to show you, give you enough information here that would encourage you to want to sign up for the software or at least get a demo using your own inventory. So, what is Up Your Gross? Well, Up Your Gross is the bottom line is it's based on a lot of core principles that I've been preaching and talking about for years, and one of them is tracking ROI. The sweet spot we're trying to get to when we track ROI is 110%. Um, that's based on front gross only. One of the things we've found out and discovered over the years after looking at thousands of spreadsheets, I guess, is that ROI goes in the tank around the 40-day mark. Gross goes down, ROI goes down. And we're not saying that you should be dumping cars at 40 days. Never would I say that to you. But what I am saying is that somewhere around the 40-day mark, you have to understand you're not making much money. And that whole concept ties right into our 30-30 concept of tracking vehicles after you sell them based on units you sell in the first 30 days versus units you sell in the second 30 days. And without a doubt, you make a lot less money on units you sell in the second 30 than the first 30. You hear dealers today complaining about the race to the bottom and what internet pricing and velocity and that sort of thing has done to grosses, and those are all valid and they're all true. But the number one culprit in average gross profit not being what we'd like it to be today is that we sell too many cars late in the life cycle of the car. And certainly the third part of this is life cycle management. So one of these things is each of these things has sort of kind of led to the other in our development. And life cycle management, you've heard me preach about it and talk about it and write about it for years, is based on the concept that all used cars don't deserve the same life cycle. As an example, you trade a car in, you bury yourself in the car for legitimate reasons, and you treat it like a normal car. You killed yourself in the car, and your brain is going, okay, we'll be okay in this car. We can keep it for 60 days. We've done this before. We will retail out of it. But the problem with that car is that you'll wake up around the 60-day mark, and you still own that car. And it's killing your grosses because now you're desperate to get rid of it at any number. You end up losing money on it most likely, or you take it to the auction and dump it, which again is never a good idea. But the bottom line is that car was a problematic car from day one. So what we're trying to get you to do with lifecycle management is to identify cars on day one that could be a problem come day 61. And I would hope that that would make sense for you. You can't treat them all the same. On that type of car, we would probably suggest you give it a 45-day life cycle. Another problematic car might be a car that you traded in or that is not a good color, or it's a car that you bought at the auctions, as an example. Those cars are always problematic. You always overpay for those cars. You always have a high cost to market on those cars. Those cars are always difficult for you. If you do some research, you'll find that those are the ones you probably lose the most money on when you wholesale a unit you bought at the auctions. But maybe the equipment match isn't good on the car. A lot of items that will cause a car to be problematic. And if you could identify those cars on day one, give them a shorter life cycle, and have a strategy in place, a strategic action plan to make them go away, you'd be that much better off and you would improve your grosses. Now, we suggest that the life cycle concept start during the course of the trade walk or doing the appraisal, no doubt. But you should do a trade walk each day and go through the units that come in your inventory, auction purchases and trades. And we then need to assign them the correct life cycle. And so we can identify those cars as early warning radar cars or problematic cars. And then it would seem natural, and this is the way our system is developed, that we send those cars into recon. So we have a recon tool. And so it's a very easy transition. We have a phone app that has available on it for you to do a lot of what I'm going to talk about here in just a minute in terms of setting the cars in the inventory. You can do it right on the phone app during the course of the trade walk. So suggested expiration dates that we give you, and these are by default, is at least this first one is, wholesale units, we give them a 20-day life cycle. The only reason we do that is to try to make sure that you don't let something sit around that you've determined on day one that you're going to wholesale it. Sometimes it's a high dollar car you're not going to keep. Sometimes it's a junker. But our system automatically defaults to 20 days. And I have a couple examples here of what I would call early warning radar cars. Budget center cars, I might give them 30 days. purchase units, I might give them 45. You have a lot of leeway in that. Our system doesn't do that automatically for you. That's you setting the cars in the inventory. We'll talk more about that in just a little bit. And certainly trade-ins and custom acquisitions, which are generally your nicest cars. They're the ones you have the most opportunity to make some money on. We would say you could give those a full life cycle of 60 days. Excuse me. And the goal or objective, though, is to find a retail buyer at some number before it hits its expiration date. That should always be your goal. So if you gave it 45 days, your goal is to find a retail buyer within 45 days. When you log into our system, this is the screen that you see. And the first thing that you ought to take a look at is something called 30/30. We're showing you right now how your units look in your inventory based on their current age. So right now, this dealership here has 44 units that are under 60 days, under 30 days old. And the average gross on those cars, if they were to sell them today for how they have them priced on the internet, would be $29.19. And the gross on those cars that are over 30 days would be $847. And so this is a snapshot of your current inventory on this very day. And so you can see that these cars right here are going to drag these down. This is yellow because this would normally be green if we had at least 65% or more of our inventory that was under 30 days old, and that should be your goal. The more units you have currently in your inventory that are under 30, you improve your odds of improving your gross profit. Now, on the right-hand side over here, we have something called dead inventory. And all we're doing here is trying to point out to you some units that you're not likely to make any money on. It's dead inventory. It's dead money. And this dealership has 12 units that are classified as wholesale at 86 grand. They've got 19 units that have expired. So they're over there given life cycle. If they were over 60 days old because they were a trade-in, they would show up here. If they were a 45-day-old a car that you gave 45 days worth of a life cycle to, and it's now 46 days old, it would show up right here. Stop sale and company vehicles. Sometimes we have some units that are classified as that, and I'll show you how you could do that in just a minute. Now, the next thing we want to look at, though, is this piece right here that shows action. So the action tab means this dealership had 2 cars that came into the inventory yesterday, and we need to take action on them. The one we'll be focused on in just a minute is this Jeep Wrangler. The tab right beside that is also important, though. It says Alert 15. This dealership has 17 cars that have 15 days or less to go in their life cycle. It would be prudent to click on that number, pull those cars up, and take a look at them for repricing. But we're going to focus on this Jeep Wrangler here in just a second. So we click on that Jeep Wrangler. I'll back up and show you that again. Right here, when we click on this car right here, it's going to pop this page up. And we now can look at this vehicle. We can analyze it. And this is a car that we had now priced at $16,850. If you wanted to change the price on this car immediately before you do anything else for whatever reason, you'll notice there's a review in vAuto. You could click on that. It would take you right into that vehicle's vAuto page, and you could change the price on it. But what I want to focus on the things that you have to make some decisions on. We've already clicked on this for this demo. We're going to send this car into recon or recon staging because this is the car we're going to keep. We've assigned it an early warning radar icon, EWR, because this car is problematic. We're pretending on this car. The reason it's problematic, by the way, is we paid too much for this car. We bought a new car deal. You don't really have to put anything here. The key is that when you click on this, you're going to click send a recon if it's a car you're going to send a recon. And we're going to give it early warning radar icon if it's problematic. And it points out right here we paid too much, and we've just added this. So if you're a dealer that's already doing business with us, you may not have picked up on this, but we have something called follow-up date. So follow-up date means we want to go back in and make sure we take a look at this vehicle, the pricing on this vehicle by a certain date. So we did this back in December, no doubt. So it says 12/19/2018. We want to take a look at that car again. It will pop up on the screen for us to do that. And now we're going to set the car in inventory based on its source, where it came from. If there's a drop-down box there that will give you whether it was a trade-in, custom acquisition, auction purchase, did you buy it from a rental car company? If you did, it would ask you which rental car company. If you bought it from an auction, it would ask you which auctions. And those are all pre-programmed into the system for you. You can add auction sites if you want to. We have all the rental car companies in the system in case you buy from them. Who is the appraiser? We want to track appraisers. We want to track the sources. We want to know who's appraising cars, who's buying cars, and how we're doing on them. The status on this car is retail. This car could have been a wholesale piece. It could have been a car that was a stop sale. It could have been a lot of things, but we have drop downs for that. And we're going to assign it a 45-day life cycle. In other words, when this first popped up, it would have had 60 on it because that's the default for a retail piece, but we're going to give it a 45-day shelf life because we're a little bit concerned about it. It shows you on the screen this car, we just sent in the recon stage and we know where the car is. When I click on this, when I go back to the main screen here, we pull that car up, you can see the age of the car. It's telling us that car is 2 days old. The life cycle that we gave it was 45 days, and we gave it this early warning radar icon. That's what this icon is all about. There's a tab up here that says EWR, early warning radar. That's a group of cars that we have previously assigned early warning radar to. And here, the countdown. So this car here has 43 days to go in its life cycle, and it's going to be smart for us to keep an eye on that car. This car here, we have it listed as a follow-up. Remember, I said to you just a second ago, you can put a date in there that you want to follow up on. It will show you cars that have now hit their follow-up date. If you click on those 4 cars, it would pull them up. You would have an opportunity to change the pricing on them. Early warning radar cars. This dealership has 14 units that they've classified as early warning radar are problematic. It would be prudent to click on those cars and analyze them when you see cars in that tab. The Recon tab. If you go up and click on Recon, it'll take you into the Recon page. And we have some defaults on the left-hand side that you can send cars to. This car right now is sitting in Recon staging. You can see it sitting in Recon staging. Currently in Recon staging, it tells you where it is. It's been there. It's been in our system for 2.14 days. If I was to hover over the bubble, it would tell me how long it's been sitting there. By the email address, it would tell me who sent it there. As a used car manager, I want to keep this page open all day once my inventory is set in that previous page that I showed you. Once it's set, I want to keep this open. If I'm a person that works in service with used cars, service writer, service manager, prep manager, I'm going to keep this page open. You can grant access to different phases of this, different aspects of it as however you might desire. On the left-hand side, these are our defaults: body shop, cleanup, pending, photo booth, recon stage, service department. It's really simple. As a dealer admin, you can add other stages. So if you want to have one that says in transit, if you want to track a sublet, like a sublet body shop, whoever you want to add over there, you can add. This is really simple to use. And you'll notice over here on the right-hand side, comments. So as cars are going through the system, you can make comments. By clicking on that bubble, you can add a comment. And the comment that was added here, the keys are lost. So the car's sitting out back in recon staging. We haven't moved the car. We haven't done anything with it yet. If I was going to move it, I would click this button. It would give me these drop-down boxes here. I would send that car into service. And if I wanted to make a note, like hold to $800 for recon, the service manager or service person could write back to me. And these all are appearing right here on the right-hand side. So it gives us a way to kind of track what we're doing and cut down on some of that walking back and forth. A new feature that we just added that will appear at the bottom of the screen is a place where you can add a car in if the car has not hit your system yet. Sometimes you have cars that you want to send through service, but you can't necessarily get them into the system because they haven't cleared. So you can add, if you know the stock number of the car, you can add a stock number in right here at the bottom left-hand side of the page. You'll be able to add a stock number in so you can start to process that car and keep up with it. Once it pushes into the system, into your DMS, into vAuto, into our system, then naturally it's going to clear itself up and you won't have to worry about that car anymore. It'll be right in the system. We'll be tracking it. Going back to this page here where we had that car, look over here where it says price. There's a place where it gives you the price of the car, how you have the car currently priced on the internet. It will show you that you can go down and click on the price review button. If I wanted to, I could click on this price review button. It will take me right into that car into vAuto. The only catch there is you have to be signed into vAuto. So if you're not signed into vAuto, it would take you to the vAuto sign-in page. But it pushes right into it to that particular car so you can change the price. Here, we're predicting the gross on the car. The predictive gross on this car, based on the way you have it priced, is $2,750. Excuse me. The predictive return on investment, if you sold that car today, you would make over a 3,000% ROI, which is pretty good. Remember, you only had this car for 2 days. The sweet spot we're trying to get to is 110. Keep this in mind. If you never change the price on that car, though, that ROI is going to go down every day. But we'd be thrilled to sell that car in that amount of days. But again, unless you have a great recon operation, you're getting cars through quickly. It's tough to do, no doubt. If you're currently using our gap and ROI spreadsheets, you can now track the actual gross on the car. If I go back here just a second to that page, bear with me. Right here, it says gross underneath of there. I can click on that gross tab right there. I click on that gross tab, it pulls this page up. This car is delivered. It's gone out of the system. That's what you'll find under the gross tab. If you want to, you could go back in here and you can actually put in the front gross. You could put in the front gross, and when you do that, let's say the front gross was $200, as the example is here. It's $200. It would automatically calculate the gap for you. That's what you gave up between the internet price and the transaction price, and it will give you the actual ROI. On this car, it wasn't very good on the example we have here. It was awful because we gave up $284 on the listed price on the internet, and so we can track that. It's really easy for you to add to this. Excuse me, back up here a second, Tommy. There's a little drop down arrow right here. On any of these tabs here that you're on, just as we're on this gross tab, it's really easy to download reports on any of those tabs that you can slice and dice any way you want to. Some of that's really good stuff to do because you'll really start to understand where you are. So, why should you use this tool? Why should you even consider this? Or if you are using it, why should you keep using it? Helps you create a unique strategy for each unit in stock. That will improve your gross profit. It's going to alert you to take action on problematic units. It integrates with vAuto so you can make those quick price changes. It's a recon tool that you can customize to fit your store. It's really simple to use, nothing complicated about it. The recon tool tracks speed and it will up your recon process. So it's a lot of good tracking going on here. We can tell you the average number of days it takes you to get a car through recon. We can tell you the average number of days it takes on each of the recon stages. It's a day-to-day agreement. If you sign up for this program and you're not using it, you can cancel by sending me an email. So I don't want you paying for anything that you're not using. This takes actually less than 10 minutes a day of the used car manager's time to manage this system. Once you set the cars in the inventory, you should just keep that recon page open to see what's going on. It's simple and flexible to use. It tracks gap and ROI by you inserting the actual gross. And it's an easy downloadable reports that you can pull up. Look, I'm Tommy Gibbs. I appreciate you taking time to watch this. UpYourGross will make you money, I guarantee you. It takes a little bit of discipline, so if you don't have any discipline, it's probably not for you. But if you'll pay attention, make sure you're using Lifecycle Management, set the cars in the inventory each day, it will absolutely improve your gross profit. Thanks. I hope I can be of help to you at some point. Have a great year. I'm Tommy Gibbs. See you. Bye.